Hey groupers, Pastor Marshall here. Great to be back in the States, and we're still in Core 52. We've made it to week 22. We're about a third of the way there. Well, if you were asked by a non-church friend or family member to summarize the entire Bible in one sentence, what would your answer be? Take a little time as a group and try to figure that out. Maybe even get paper and pencil out or a whiteboard and just try to explain the entire Bible in one sentence. And try not to make it a run-on Pauline sentence either. Well, if you were raised outside of the church and you weren't exposed to the Bible at an early age, do you remember learning this golden rule? Do you remember learning this? If so, do you remember what context you learned it in? Did you ever have any idea that it was from the Bible, or did you just think this was some societal proverb? Before Jesus issues this epic statement, he talks about dads providing for their families. How does that fit with the golden rule? Why this context? How does this all fit together as a package? In your humanness, just for a second, peel off your spiritual side. In your humanness, if you were to push back on Jesus, Jesus says in everything, do to others what you wish that they would do to you. If you were to push back, what would be a situation where you would be most tempted to resist following the golden rule? Where is this going to be the most difficult? How do you feel about the idea of taking your inherent selfishness, our DNA wired narcissism? How do you feel about the idea of using that for good, about focusing on what you would want, thinking in a situation, what would I want here, that selfishness, and then living that for someone else? In your own words, what is the difference between the silver rule and the golden rule? And then, can you give a personal example of this truth? Mark says, responsibility breeds personal growth more than self-control. Responsibility breeds personal growth more than self-control. Can you give an example of how that has been true in your life? And then, do you see any comparison with America today and with the nation of Israel in 722 BC? What can we do about that to influence our culture for righteousness in our own day? And to even understand what you're talking about, open your Core 52 book to page 149. At the very bottom of the page, you'll find that 722 number, and it'll help you answer this question. Any comparison between America today and Israel in 722, and what can we do to change our culture? Well, every week we just want to be reminded of our application. The application this week is very simple. I'm challenging you and myself to spend 1 hour exclusively focusing on the golden rule. How am I going to live this? How am I going to put myself in someone else's shoes? Spend an hour this week just exclusively focused on meditating, practicing, living the golden rule. I bet that'll be fun for you. I hope it's going to be fun for me too. I hope you have a great group. I'll see you next Sunday. God bless.